Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Pre-Market News and Views by In the Money Stocks. Today is Friday, March 23rd, 2012. A lot to cover, so let's get right into the charts here. I'm going to start off first with the S&P 500 E-mini futures, which are trading lower by just 2 points to 1387 per contract. Futures are down a little bit. You'll see here that they topped out really around 4 o'clock in the morning. Take a look at the U.S. dollar, and you'll see that the dollar made a big move to the upside around that time. Here's the dollar, just the inverse of it, right around 4 o'clock in the morning. Dollar makes a big spike higher, starts to rally up, and sure enough, futures come down. Therefore, this tells us that if the futures, if the dollar, the U.S. dollar index starts to sell off around around 9 o'clock or so, then maybe the futures will rally up a little bit. It is a Friday. The trading volume will get very, very light after the first 2 hours of the session, unless something geopolitically takes place, in my opinion. So we'll have to just see how that all plays out. But once again, you can see the markets are trading inverse to the U.S. dollar index. However, we have to wait and see if the dollar does fade once the opening bell rings at the New York Stock Exchange, which is very, very common to see. So we'll have to wait and see if that plays out. But nonetheless, at the moment, looks like the S&P 500 E-mini futures are trading down about $2 at the moment. All right, there's a few things to cover and go over, so let's get right into the story of the night. Really was Asia. All of the Asian markets sold off pretty sharply. The Nikkei was down about 1.14%. The Hang Seng was down about 1.11%, and the Shanghai was down 1.10%. So just realize all the Asian markets down just slightly over 1% last night. But the Indian Sensex was the one bright spot. That was up 9 tenths of 1%. So India did catch a bid last night. That has been beaten down already. So it was maybe a little overdue for a bounce. But nonetheless, you did have the Shanghai, the Hang Seng, and the Nikkei all lower, and that is talking to us. So once again, most of the Asian markets were lower. The Sensex, which is India, did catch a bid last night. So watch these Chinese ADRs today. Stocks like Baidu, which had a very good day yesterday, coming under a little bit of pressure. Sony Corp is another one. You could watch China Mobile, which is ticker symbol CHL. These could come under pressure today if the U.S. markets are weak. If the U.S. markets are strong today, then it really won't matter, because that means that everything is inflating. So we don't have to pay too much attention to it. But again, watch the Chinese ADRs. They could come under pressure. Also, Japanese ADRs could come under pressure as well. Stocks like Sony could be under a little bit of pressure this morning. Let me take a look. I think Canon is another one. So there are a few Japanese ADRs out there that could come under pressure. We'll keep an eye on that. That's really the first decline in the Nikkei, or the second decline in a while that we've seen. So again, Japan has been very, very strong as the Japanese yen has been devalued. Now the Japanese yen catches a bid and the Nikkei falls apart. So in any case, we're trading currencies more than we're trading stocks these days. That's what it seems like. All right, let's get into oil and gold. First, we're going to start off with USO. We're going to look at the United States Oil Fund, which is trading right around $40.19, closed at $40.14. The markets are catching, I should say the oil markets are catching a little bit of a bid. Light sweet crude is up 21 cents this morning, right to around the 105.50 level. I have to say the crude chart is fine right now. I don't really see anything really wrong there. The crude chart still is holding up very, very well on the daily chart, really just putting in a sideways consolidation base at the moment. So crude is actually still holding up pretty well. We'll see if the dollar can gain some strength. Maybe crude will come down a little bit. But right now, crude is holding up very, very well. Let's talk about the gold market. Spot gold, I believe, is higher by 5 points, or $5 to 16.47 an ounce for an ounce of gold. Let's take a look at the GLD this morning and see how that is faring. And you'll see GLD is trading around the 160.06 level, closed at 159.57. So you can see that uptick. It was higher in the pre-market when the dollar was weaker. Notice this was right around 4 o'clock when the U.S. dollar index made its low. Once the U.S. dollar index caught the bid, gold has come down. So again, there are so many correlations to the U.S. dollar index. I think it's one of the most important charts that any trader can watch at this time. And I would recommend all of you have a chart of the dollar up at least beginning, at 9:30 in the morning. If you don't have a futures chart, you can use the UUP, which is a pretty good indicator of the dollar. So once the opening bell rings at 9:30. All right, there's some stocks to talk about this morning. Let's talk about Micron first. I believe the stock came out with earnings. Micron not really doing a whole lot here. Closed at $8.71, down to around 8.36. I wouldn't do anything with this thing. If it got down to around 7.75, that's your bounce level. Until then, there's really not a lot to do there with Micron. Gets to 7.75, you could look for a bounce, intraday that is. Let's take a look at Mosaic. Mosaic, I think, had a report today. Stock is catching a big bid. I'm not sure what the news is, if it was earnings or if it was just an upgrade. But nice little pop for Mosaic, trading around the 57.60 level. Believe it or not, I don't see anything great here or terrible. There's not a lot I would do with it at the moment. Other stocks may catch a bid early in the ag sector, but I'm not sure they're all going to make any significant moves. So just keep an eye out for them intraday and see what kind of pattern they make. Here's the big news of the day. Nike reporting earnings. Stock yesterday closed at 111. Today it is trading at 111, basically 111.89 at the moment. So trading up a little bit, Nike. So stock may still hold up well. It's still in a good uptrend on the daily chart. There's nothing really wrong here, except that it's just gone straight up since the month of December without really any meaningful pullbacks. So again, Nike's holding up fine. I wouldn't make much out of it either way. I don't think it goes to the upside much. I don't think it goes down all that much. And we'll see. If it does fall, traders can watch. I don't even have a good level here until it gets to around the 105, 104 level. But so we'll leave Nike alone. Not a lot to do there. It is a Friday. Let's take a look at KB Homes. KB Homes, the home builder. Stock is getting roasted this morning, but I do have some levels here. That's a pretty good decline. KB Homes stock yesterday closed right around $11.25. Today it is trading down to around the $9.50 level. Traders should really watch the $8.85 area. Maybe it's just a pierce of $9, but right in there, that's going to be your level there for KB Homes if it gets there. So watch 885. That's the level I'm watching. A little bit lower than that, you have the 200-day moving average on the daily chart. That will be pretty good support as well, but I'm not even sure if it gets there. 885 could give you an intraday bounce. Okay, but be careful with this one because it's a pretty good little move lower. I don't think it's a strong gap down, though. The stock has been down already, so it's not a strong gap down. You should get a bounce there at 885 if it gets there. Let's take a look at Michael Kors. This stock is trading low. I believe they're doing a secondary, but again, the stock just debuted in I believe it came out in December, right around December 15th. It's been a hit. The stock has risen sharply from basically its IPO day, trading around $25 all the way up to $50. $50 they're issuing new shares. Right now this morning the stock is trading at 47.51, closed at 48.72. This thing probably needs to pull back a little bit further. If it breaks through the $45 level with conviction and closes down there today, traders should back off of it and let it pull back into the 38 level, maybe the 36 level. There'll be a ton of support there if you want to buy it, but not a lot I would do with Michael Kors right now. I would just leave it alone and let it fall. Okay, let's take a look at a couple Indian ADRs. I want to take a look at Tata Motors quickly. Stock is holding steady. There's really nothing great that I see here, but India was up last night. So if the U.S. markets catch a bid, these Indian ADRs could catch a little bit of a bid, and you want to keep that on your radar. Here's Infosys. I'm not seeing anything great right now. Stock does have a ton of support at 55, though, if it did get down there. But just watch these Indian ADRs if the U.S. market starts to rally up again. It is a Friday. Rarely do we get a down Friday. Normally the market is mostly flat, and they'll juice it really right before the closing bell. That seems to be the MO these days of what goes on. Again, watch the U.S. dollar index. It's up early, off the lows. Still down 28 cents today on the U.S. dollar index futures. But you can see once it starts to pull back, take a look at the futures. You'll start to see them rallying up. Okay, so that inverse relationship is back. For about a week, we did lose it there, but it's back in full effect these days. Alrighty, everybody. It is a Friday. I want to wish you all a great trading day. We'll see you Monday morning. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you on the charts. Take care, everybody.